We've been camped up in Richmond as part of our Dinosaur Trail explorations, and we've been approached by a local farmer, Ross, who runs tours out to his station to learn all about cattle life, which is something that we've been wanting to do for a long time now. We've done station stays, but we haven't actually explored the nitty-gritty of what a station is and what happens on a station, so we're off on his tour to go and have a look at Hampstead Station.
Been cruising along in the van, learning all about the native grasses and trees here in the black soil. We just pulled up and look at something different.
This here is the famous black soil of the region, and you can see some cracks already opening up in it. As the sun starts to beat down on the ground and the temperatures rise, the soil starts moving. So these cracks open up much bigger, and then the topsoil falls down into those cracks, continually rotating. And the first things to grow back are the native grasses. Flinders and Mitchell, really high protein grasses, they start coming up and provide plenty of feed for local cattle. Of course, it's not just the cattle that like to feed, there's plenty of galahs too. And look at these guys, there's swarms of them everywhere. And they're all here for the same seed that the cows like to eat once it grows.
Alright, we're switching buses for this part. This is the old Mercedes, and they used to run these tours. Now this is really good for climbing the mountains. So now we're in the bush, we're actually here on Hampstead, actually on their property. And we're going to go up into the range which sits above the property, but you can see it's really bush. And when he came here and he won it in a lottery, he won it in 1987 in a lottery, 50,000 acres. There was just a road to it and there was a boundary fence. That was it, and he had to put in his own road and everything like that. And then he runs his cattle. So he had to start from nothing and put in all this infrastructure. We've made our way up into the hills here, and you can see Elijah sitting up on the hill here. So his head's tilted back and he's actually got a bit of light coming through. He's got an eye as well. He's got a big nose. He's an American Indian. Originally they called him an American Indian, and they thought, oh, I better be an Aboriginal elder. But everyone who's come up here reckons it looks like a Indian looking out over the land. We've made our way up into the Gregory ranges here, and we're right underneath Elijah. So there's that face that you can see. You can see a bit of light and sun coming through him. It's beautiful up here. They do put on some tea and some scones in the morning. We've done about 2 hours driving in the car. The kids have done really well, enjoyed it. Ross has talked the whole way, so Linda's organised the Smoko for us. So we're going to have that over a campfire.
That is perfect, yep. And we've got some fresh cow's milk here, hey boys. You going to try fresh milk in it?
Fresh milk, eh? Awesome.
So I'm going to let you out here, and you can walk down through the split rocks. We've got, you've got a good 20-25 minutes if you want to.
We're coming for a walk down through what they call the split rock area. And Ross and Linda had actually never been down to this area before. Just a few years ago now, in 2014, they started to explore the possibility of bringing tours up here, and then have needed an access road. They thought this might be a nice place to bring people, so they came up here for the first time. Ross had to ride his bike up here to explore and look for a good place to put a road, because the horses don't like the rough country and the spinifex and all those prickly bushes, which is fair enough. So they explored it, they found this place for a road, and him and his son, who has machinery and a grader, brought them up here and made the road, which is used today for the tours.
Cockatoo Rock, have a look at it. You can see the beak in the face, so you got the beak and then the eyes. Look like a cockatoo, Al? Look like a cockatoo? So Ross here got this in the ballot in 1987 and has basically improved and developed the land raising cattle. When they initially got this land all around out here, there was about 700 head of wild brumbies and about 500 head of wild cattle, and he used that to start the income on the farm, and then started borrowing money to produce further investment. And today, to supplement some of his income, he does tours in a big yellow bus just like that one. Again, drawing from our tea experience, there's a possum living up in this one. You can see some marks running up and down the tree, and up the top up there, yeah, hollow up the top, so I reckon there's probably a little possum in there. You can see where it's run up and down though, Jed. From the bus, on to the next stop. I think next stop is the station. We're going to go see The house which is moved here used to be the old post office in town at Richmond.
Coconuts grow here, and right beside the coconuts you got a date farm. So you can't get much more contrast than that, but there's mangoes and pawpaws and passion fruit, pineapple, bananas, everything grows here. Yeah, we grow pawpaw. Yeah, so you'll get pawpaw for lunch.
Yes, you got a plate there, you can line up. You can be first in. So we've got stew for lunch. Yep, and a bit of damper, so don't go too much to start, boys. You can come back later. Steph's vegetarian. She's got a nice little fresh garden salad. Which given we're 4th week of our shopping cycle, fresh veggies are pretty good. Check out these bananas growing on the tree here. Awesome.
This cockatoo is free to come and go, but he likes to stay. Hello. Food just keeps on coming. So we've got sticky date pudding and custard, some fresh pawpaw, and some stewed fruit and passion fruit. Wow.
I got some of this.
Piece of pawpaw, Harry.
What is it?
Just wandering through the grounds here, which are all planted around this house. So this was the postmaster's residence, and it was moved here in 2002. We bought it from Richmond and plonked it right there, brought it down in one piece and placed it here on the grounds.
To give them the best chance.
Yeah.
So you pull their ears, their tail, everything. And he used to go around the front
This is Charlie.
and headbutt them, trying to
Charlie,
get them up.
he thinks he's a
If that
cattle dog.
didn't work, he'd run around and run up
You
the back.
want to take?
He can, sorry.
Their ears, trying to get him up.
Good. Yeah.
And
This is a homestead garden, so we've got some
that's where
pumpkin over the back, passion fruit, corn, cauliflower, carrots, snow peas, butternut pumpkins. Got some broad beans over the back. Even got beetroot, which is what Steph had this morning. Look at this, tomatoes. Good garden. So Jack looks after the garden for him, and this produces for the whole homestead. Keep them fed. Look at that, pawpaw. We're just looking at the plants we don't recognise here. There's so much that they can grow here in the tropics. Pineapple plants. That's where your pineapples come from, boys. They grow up out like a flower. No, they grow out like a flower. Yeah. In heaven here, I love gardening. We have a big garden at home. We run ducks and chooks. And I miss my ducks and chooks. But this garden, I'll tell you what, the weather, the soil, it's magnificent. These are the working dogs, and they're pretty happy in here. They don't let them out because they'll go and muster all the cows, and they don't want them to do it. So twice a day they let them out. They have a good run. But if they were to let them out and run free, they'd be off working because they're working dogs, and that's just how they're brought up. Harry's over here cleaning out poor old Jack from his garden. Now, Harry's just told him that I ate the most, you need to give me more. So that's a bit of a worry. Good reminder of the World War II coming up. This is a mustard gas bomb, and it was kept in Richmond in case of Japanese invasion. So there's the remnants of it. I'm going to have a look too closely in there. Just shows you how much the war affected everyone, including people inland like here in Outback, Queensland. Carbide light. Oh yeah, strychnine, there it is. Oh yeah, I've seen those bottles before.
That was our lamp. That was our light.
Yeah, well, if my husband
That's
is
the light.
gonna go, I've got 2 at home.
Hey, look at the blacksmith shed. So this is around the back here. Obviously a bit of construction still going on. There you go, Jed, look at the anvils. So this is the bit of a project, the blacksmith shed. Look at that, so you get the fire going. Look at that, it's a forge. It makes it really, really hot. It blows air in. So you spin that and it makes that super hot. You put your metal in there, then you take it over to your anvil and you give it a bang or a turn. Look at that.
I will demonstrate. There we go. I made that.
Yep,
There you are.
that's it.
Hey, now, what are those?
These oil bottles, the old oil bottles. Yeah, ask Jeff, he's probably got some in the shed.
Then used to go and
Ask your granddad.
then I'll give them one of those.
Yep, yep. And they got other bigger ones down there. Checking out all these tractors. He's a bit of a collector, so he collects stuff. Apparently he's got an old New York cab somewhere on the block, so we'll have to go have a look at that. Oh, it is a beauty. Is that a cab, is it? Is that the cab? Oh, just a convertible. It's a convertible. Wow, look at these. Full as a good. We're heading back to the bus. We're going to keep going on the tour. It's a full day tour. Jesus, good value. That was a great meal. Now we're going to keep going and we're going to learn a little bit about the cattle. We've learned about the homestead. We've learned about the soil, the land. Let's go see what they do with it beyond the veggie garden.
Yeah, this fella is over 14 metres around the girth, so he is a big boy. So you can go and get your pictures taken beside him if you want to.
So this here is a paperbark tree. It is 14 metres in girth at the fattest point here. And there's one in Townsville and it's 13 metres. But this bad boy here is going to be one of the biggest in Australia. He's huge.
Origami paper one that they use.
Yeah, like a thin paper.
Thin origami.
It's actually quite soft and squishy too.
It's been buried with sand.
The stick's that big.
You've got to get out and free the stuff up.
All the way in. That's how soft that
What does it
bark
say?
is. It went all the way in. Paperbark forest is right alongside the homestead, and there's swampland out through here and a spring just over the back. And so this is the site that they, when they arrived here on the land, decided to place the homestead. It's amazingly green. Ross and Linda's daughter was actually married just on the other side of this in a clearing. She wanted to be married by the paperbark forest. See little butterflies just cruising around. Such a diverse landscape just on 50,000 acres. There's where our coffee came from this morning. There's Linda's cows down here enjoying the paperbark forest. We're just walking down to check out the water wheel down here that supplies the house with all its water from the spring. There's yabbies, so occasionally they go looking for red claw. Look at that. This is providing 20,000 litres a day fresh from the spring. This provides all their drinking water, all of their fruit tree watering, and there's another solar pump as well. So 20,000 litres isn't actually enough to run all their gardens, all their fruit trees through summer. So there's another solar pump that provides a bit more to the homestead. But up here, when it gets pretty dry, you need all the water you can, and luckily this spring is just an everlasting supply of water running down through the property. 40 kilometres of this poly pipe stretching out over the property, connecting up the dams and this local spring.
Such a beautiful spot. I could imagine just sitting here for hours, enjoying just the bush.
So Ross and Linda were living on some other land on the other side of town, other side of Gregory Range actually, when they won the ballot and moved over here to this 50,000 acre block. And Ross hadn't actually even seen this block at all when he won the ballot. He wanted in for another ballot somewhere else, but they gave him a second chance. He ended up winning this one, which he never actually even looked at. And when they came over here, they had 3 daughters, 1 son, and basically lived out of a tin shed for much of their early life, 15 years before actually building their homestead.
He wanted to open a gate. He'd been from the city and never opened the gate in his life. Well,
Remnants of Aboriginals back here on the land some time ago, so we're just having a look at some of the sites here on this property where Ross has found traces of Aboriginal history.
Micah. Yeah. If you get up here and you can have a look at how much this thing's not hanging by a lot the other way.
Hanging by a thread, eh?
Yeah.
Looking at the red, actually, that's what we got to
See, there's one there, and there's more.
Yeah.
There's more
Gosh.
up under there.
So they're that solid red colour, that
See
ochre.
the wasp nest?
Yeah, just
use
these are little fairy marbles.
Oh yeah, they can use them to date.
See the hands hanging there?
There are, look at the handprint.
There's more of them up under there.
Gosh, Harry, look at them. These are basically untouched Aboriginal art handprints, mostly, under here. It's just all over the place, it's amazing.
I guess this was used for shelter during the wet season. They might come up and have a fire and stay underneath these structures waiting for the wet season to pass. So that's for spear sharpening, huh?
There's more up there.
So these rubbing holes.
These berries that are apparently edible are very much like some that we had right back in South Australia.
Big one for you.
Emus eat and then poop out.
Do you want one?
Thanks, sorry. They are sweet.
There's only one thing left to do now, and that's to learn a little bit about the cattle, I reckon.
We're going to take you to where there's a few cattle out near the boundary and show you what a cattle trap is.
Close the gate. Big heavy gate. Nailed it.
See the little fellas here? It's the little fellas over there. Yeah. We have a trap out and a trap in. Cattle have got to be used to walking through the trap all the time, otherwise you can't trap. They've got to be used to it.
See the nose board here on a younger calf or older calf now, and stops it from feeding from its mum.
Nose boards have been around a long time as well. You can get a plastic ring thing to put on them today, but I don't like them. I'd rather the nose board.
And off we go. What an awesome tour. We have had a great day with Hampstead Tours. We've learnt all about life on a homestead, how they farm, how they garden, everything they do. It's been good, right, Haz?